Welcome to Martini Time. Let's see what the frog brings up, the golden ball from the pond. So, last evening we talked about the Buddha being alchemist, and somebody, a friend of mine, posted, I don't know if he saw the talk or not, says, Buddha wasn't an alchemist, he was a hermit. So, before you comment on the talk, listen to the talk. So, anyway, I wanted to go a little bit deeper into, because I retitled the talk, Buddha Runs on Empty. You know, there are a lot of books. If you go to Barnes & Noble, and go to the alternate religious section, you'll see books on Judaism and Islam, and there'll be books on meditation. And but you won't find any books on yoga. Maybe if you go to the exercise counter, or the exercise, you'll find books on yoga. But if you go to the bookshelf on religion, alternate religion, you'll see books on Buddhism, meditation. And a lot of the books will be rather creative, like Buddha at the gas pump, and Buddha in the dog pound, or kind of creative stuff like that. And if you read them, which I do, is that they are Americans who are now mature practitioners of meditation who are becoming creative. And so when you become creative, you invent creative ideas, like Buddha runs on empty. See, now that's, to me, is interesting. It just came up because I thought of the Seinfeld skit, where Kramer and the car salesman are running on, seeing how far they can go on empty. And so they have a demo card, and they get raptured. They get crazy. Let's keep going. And then finally the car runs out of gas, and Kramer gets out and says, "See ya," and leaves the guy there who had been induced into this crazy idea of how far can we go on empty. So the Buddha runs on empty, I thought, was really kind of double-ended, because Buddhism is always talking about one of the principles that is least understood is emptiness. And when you read the Heart Sutra in Zen, which is the major chant in Zen monasteries, Zen centers, or temples. I'm not a Zen Buddhist, but the Heart Sutra is chanted, and it's the Heart Sutra that comes to the conclusion: form is emptiness. Emptiness is nothing but form. Form is form, emptiness is emptiness. But this old idea of form is, now what is form but everything we perceive? Thoughts, stuff, everything is form. Ideas are form. Beliefs are form. If it exists, it's form. So the sutra says form is nothing but empty. It doesn't make sense. And then it says emptiness is form. So this idea of emptiness is really confusing because it's not logical. The conceptual mind, our thinking mind, really can't get a handle on it, can't grasp it. Is it nothing? Emptiness is nothing? Does nothing exist? And so we're very confused about this, particularly in New Age and in non-duality, which says, everything is an appearance, it's all empty, it's all an illusion. Well, an illusion is empty. So if everything is empty, what's the point? But then we go, wait a minute, this isn't empty, I can feel it. This is the old argument between idealism and realism. The idealist says everything is mind. It's all an illusion. Mind is the source. The materialist says no, everything is material. Material is the source of mind. And our scientists are leaning in that direction when they say the brain is the source of mind, or and mind creates consciousness. So the brain, material, is form, is the source of the immaterial, or mind, you see. But then the non-dualist will come up and say, or Vedanta, the Eastern, no, it's the other way around. It's mind is this, or spirit, whatever you want to call it, is the source of form, you see. So now you get this teeter-totter. Which is the source of the other? Well, you can't solve it. There's no answer to that, because each has its own logic. Each has its own point of view that neither one can refute the other. So it's an eternal question. So then Zen comes along and says, well, form is mind, mind is form, or form is emptiness. And then I got in a little thing with somebody a friend on Facebook. He says, well, it's not, it's spirit. It's not emptiness, it's spirit. Well, what is spirit but a word? You can't see spirit running around. If you see spirit, it's got some form, or you couldn't see it. So spirit is empty. Spirit means without form, formless. So you see where this gets all tangled up, we really can't get an understanding on it. So I've been kind of like working with this recently, and that's the way I bring understanding up, is when I try to articulate it, or write about it, or speak it, you see. So I'm really inquiring here. I don't have this all written down, and I'm not, I didn't read this just before I came up here. So I'm really investigating in it. So then I look at this talk. Now, this talk is spontaneously happening. So it's kind of like a fountain. So the talk is, what's the cause of the talk? Well, there are conditions. Their conditions are, it's on the Facebook here. That's a condition. I feel compelled to do it. That's a condition. All of my past is conditioning. My guru and my studies and everything I do is the conditioning. So all of this conditioning, my parents, my life, my neurosis, all of that is conditioning. All of that goes into, you can't really select one thing or another. American history. Why, if you want to find the cause of me, you will spend eternities tracing out threads, my parents are the cause of me. Well, who are the cause of the parents are, grandparents are where does that go, you see? So you can't find a first cause. You can't find the cause of anything. Everything is interrelated. Everything is interconnected. It's a vast interconnected net, you see. And all of it rises at once. This is another Buddha principle called dependent origination. It means everything rises at once. It's not happening linearly, like that's causing this to happen. So there's a different way of looking at reality when you begin to penetrate the assumptions that our reality is based on, which is cause and effect, and everything is form, everything is things. And then you get into time. See, we only know, time means I can measure the distance, but linearly, like how much time does it take for this talk to happen? Well, you got a beginning and you got an end, right? You can measure that, you see. But the talk actually is coming up like a fountain. So how do you measure a fountain? Can you put a ruler on a fountain? How many inches are there in a fountain? How many feet? Well, you can get back and you can measure the height of the fountain. But that's from the outside. You can't measure it from the inside. So there's two there's two views here. There's the outside, there's looking at something outside. I'm looking at this, I'm looking at that. I'm looking, if I were a psychologist, I might look at my mind, look at your mind, and I would connect the dots to figure out what your mind was doing, trying to get a form of it, you see. So this is objective view of everything. But the subjective view, which is from the inside, is the difference between looking at say you're looking at a fountain and it turns into a stream, so you can measure the stream, the water as it flows out, but you can't measure the fountain from the inside because it's creating itself. The fountain is creating itself, and that's why we love to sit next to fountains. So the fountain is really empty of anything in the past creating it from that viewpoint. If you take the objective scientific view, well, then you can say what created the fountain. Well, the pipes underneath it, the water, and all of this, yada, yada. You see, and that's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we need that in order to fix the fountain. You've got to find out why it broke. What's the cause of it, you see? So this is very good for mechanistic thinking. If you want to fix something, you have to find the cause. But if you want to fix yourself, you can't find the cause of you as if you were a machine. So there is no past cause of you. Unless you look at yourself like a machine or a Freudian analyst and say, oh, well, your parents did this in their toilet training. That's what it was. Your bad toilet training screwed you up. There we have it, you see. Now, if you just go ahead and reenact your toilet training, you'll be fixed. Go back and regress back to when you were an infant, when you were getting toilet trained, and do it correctly, and then you'll be fixed. Come on. So we're trying to investigate this idea of emptiness and a different way of looking at it. And the way I'm looking at it right now is that when something is empty, it means that it's empty of a cause. It's happening now. It's a happening. And there's no cause to the happening. It's just rising out of all of the whole cosmos is a happening. So if you keep Googling out here and you say this talk is a happening, you can't find the cause of it. Because everything is the cause of it. The air, this house, Facebook, Zuckerberg, whatever, technology, the guy who invented the internet. There's no end to it. I'm on an iPad here, Steve Jobs. Any thread you want to take, you can find a cause, but the whole quilt is not caused by any one thread. The whole quilt is happening. So there's no cause to it from that point of view. From the mechanistic point, you need to find a cause so you can fix it, make it better, do whatever you want. But you have no cause. You are happening. You are arising. You are empty of a cause, you see. But we don't look at ourselves that way. We look at ourselves as being determined by the past. All of my problems, I owe my past, or Trump did it, or Obama did it. Somebody's causing my discomfort. Somebody is causing my unhappiness. Something is causing my negativity. Something is causing my anger. So this view, this mechanistic view of life, just creates ourselves as a victim. Somebody caused me. Who is it? Who did it, you see? I want to find out who did it. If I find out who did it and get rid of them, well, I'll be free then. I'll be happy. If I could just find out who did it. It's like Sherlock Holmes, who did it? You see, but that's a mechanistic way of looking at life. It's not the Buddha way of looking at life. And when I say Buddha, I don't mean become a Buddhist, I interpret the teachings of Jesus the same way. So I don't mean to get stuck into a label or a bottle and say you got to drink this stuff. No, but I'm looking at the teaching. I'm looking at the truth of the teaching, which is not modeled by any one religion or teaching or tradition, you see. The truth is self-evident when you look at it with wise view. With wise view. Now, unwise view, when I want to be happy and I want to be free of conditioning and feeling contracted and feeling a victim and all of that, when I want to be free of that, I have to stop looking at myself from a mechanistic, objective point of view, which means there's a cause and I need to find the cause. So when I look at myself from a first-person view, from myself as a fountain, there is no cause of me. And this is liberating right there. Just changing your viewpoint from unwise view, which is me as a machine, a form, to me as a fountain, then I'm kind of just happening right now, you see. I'm just kind of, I'm the cosmos happening. You are the world, and the world is you. And I say that, when I say in the beginning, I didn't say it tonight, but you're in the center of the world. I'm in the center, you're in the center. That means you are the center of the cosmos. You are the cosmos conscious of itself. You are the Big Bang going off right now as a fountain in an expanding universe, and you are at the center. You are the center of the Big Bang going off right now. But our objective view, our scientific view, puts us outside of that. So now I'm looking at it kind of like a bunch of things going off, and the Big Bang is way in the past, you see. But from the emptiness, the Big Bang is right now, going off right now. And out of that Big Bang, you see, I create the universe in which I live in. And I create a universe of form and time, you see. And I create myself as somebody with a personality and a history, and I live in that. But I neglect to discover, I neglect to see that I am the creator of that. And so now I look for my creator. I look for my source. I look for my Father. I look for my God out there in time, maybe when I die, maybe when I get enlightened, maybe in the future, or maybe never and I'm depressed. But it's all because of an unwise view. Not that science is an unwise view, it's just a view with limitations. A view with limitations, you see. So like Clint Eastwood said, a man or woman should know his limitations. You should know the limitations of your view and question the assumptions upon which we stand and create our suffering. And so I say again, the Buddha runs on empty, you see. And I think the title of this talk tonight will be Full, my friend. Because here's the thing, just a few more minutes. If you are totally empty of being caused, if you get out of the mechanistic view, the objective view, and you see yourself as being the fountain, the dynamic creation of the universe going on right now, thou art that, you are that. That sudden shift, you see, creates the emptiness that you are. So you are empty of a cause. You are empty of being determined, you see. And when you are totally empty, you are also totally full. Because if you are the one without a second, if you are emptiness without a single thought of not being empty, You are totally empty, and you are also totally full. Totally full and totally empty are the same thing, because neither one has any resistance in it. If you are totally empty, you have no resistance to being empty. And if you have no resistance to being empty, there is no you outside of being empty looking at it and say, I don't like it. We only think of emptiness as being, well, I don't want to be empty. That doesn't sound very good. I don't want to be nothing. How can I be nothing? Well, that right there is not totally empty. So if you're totally empty, you accept where you are as the fountain right now. There's nobody outside of the fountain criticizing it and saying, I don't want to be a fountain. You are the fountain. And if you are the fountain of this moment, then you are empty. And if you're totally empty, you're totally full. Of what? Of life. That's what my wife always tells me. You're full of it. Thanks for dropping in. Be empty, my friends.